Hello, my friends, and welcome to Rant World with me, Notorious BLT. We're going to get into what Rant World is going to be in just a second, but for now, I just need to give you guys some announcements. First announcement is there's not going to be any streams on June 4th, 5th, or the 11th. Reason being, the 4th and 5th, I'm going to be on vacation, and the 11th, I'm doing something with my mom. Anywho, what this episode is, or what this short series is, this is going to be something that's going to be airing while I'm on vacation. Excuse me. Sorry, I just got done doing some exercises. For whatever reason, my throat decided to just, die on me. This is going to be airing while I'm on vacation, and if you haven't been around the channel for a while, then you don't know this, so I'll explain it. When I go on vacation, I tend to put on at least one thing that's just kind of new or different. And so if you don't like this, that's not a big deal. It's only going to be around for a week, and then you have to deal with it anymore. If you want to see more of this, then please let me know, via likes, etc. Now, here's the other thing. I was going to try a couple of different formats with this where, for example, with this episode, the reason that the audio is completely muted for the game is that originally I just decided to record everything all at once, and that I was just going to do kind of on-the-fly commentary, etc. Oh my god, the motorcycles, can you hear them? But after recording it, I just did not like the commentary. It was just kind of blah, and I didn't really care for it. There's one subject that I started talking about that I do want to touch on, but just, I figured I would touch on that in this, which is post-commentary. I am going to comment on a little bit of the stuff that happens during the game, like right now this weird moose rabbit, and sometimes the way they move just freaks me the hell out. But anywho, like I was saying, I just did some exercises, and so I am sweating the sweat of 1,000 fat guys trying to climb 100 flights of stairs, and I can say that because I'm a fat guy, goddammit, or at least I'm a sort of fat guy. The way that I get fat is so strange, and I know I get it from my dad's side of the family. My dad's side of the family, at least the men on his side of the family, the women do not experience this, but the men do. The women are more well-rounded, I should say. Like, when my Aunt Marta started gaining weight, which she has lost entirely, it was, very proportionate. Like, her whole body kind of grew with her. And not that she got, super fat or anything. She did not. But with the men, it's very strange. Well, I don't know if it's strange. I don't know if this happens to Latino men a lot. If you don't know, I am half Cuban. My dad is Cuban. My mom is Canadian. Man, that stretchy leg. Goddamn. We get, all the fat on our bellies. My dad has never had a fat face, neither has his brother, even when they gained weight. I got a little bit of fat face, just a little bit, and I think I inherited it from my mom's side of the family because they also get a little bit more well-rounded. Man, my gut just does not stop growing. It is crazy. Just absolutely crazy to me. Enough about fatness. I'm going to get into some more body stuff in a little bit, and that's another thing I wanted to mention about this series. This is basically the reason it's called Rant World. Is I'm just going to be playing Rain World and just kind of talking about stuff. Sometimes it's going to be kind of serious business. Sometimes it's going to be more silly things or irreverent things. I think irreverent is the word I'm looking for. But in any case, things that some of them don't matter, some of them do matter. But there is a more serious business thing that I do want to talk about later in the episode. Don't worry, we're not going to get into politics. I will not get into politics at all on this channel. It's not going to happen. Although I guess there are some things that I might talk about that some people could consider politics, but I don't think that, being nice to people is politics. I think you just let people do their thing. Oh yeah, by the way, this spot here, I came in here expecting to see orange and yellow lizards. Instead, it's a swarm of spiders, the things I had been looking for on the Rain World live streams, and here they are. All the spiders I could have ever not wanted. I say that because, if you don't know, I am arachnophobic, and seeing these little boogers crawling around gives me, the worst case of the heebie-jeebies, and that spooter has just hit me with these weird grubs that paralyze you. And if I'm right, I was about to try to throw things, and then realized, oh hey, I'm actually paralyzed, and this thing that's trying to move through the tube is pushing me, and yeah, it's all kinds of badness. So, anyway, I wanted to tell you all a little bit of a story, something that happened. The other night, I'm coming home, and if you follow me on Twitter or Facebook, you would have seen this. You would have seen the comment about it anyway. I'm coming home. I'm heading upstairs to my apartment building, and right outside the back door of our apartment, we have this big landing. So I'm heading over there, and I see this like brown bundle on the ground, and I'm like, what the hell is that? It's a bat. It is a bat on the ground, not really moving. I will point out right away, for those of you who love animals, this bat was not dead. And it turns out it wasn't injured either. I'll get to what happened later. So, clearly I'm worried about this creature, about this bat, because I love animals, and bats are very necessary to the ecosystem of the northeastern United States, and just about everywhere. Also, they eat mosquitoes, so bravo bats. You eat some of the most horrible, disgusting monsters on this planet, and rid them of our world, which I thank you for. So I go in to my apartment, and I'm like, hey, girlfriend, there is a bat right outside our back door of the apartment that is on the ground for reasons unknown. I believe it's still alive. It did move a little bit when I got near it. And she's like, oh, crap. I don't know what to do about that. And so she starts looking up, like, what to do if you, find a bat that is, like, what can you do about bats? And do you want to help them? Because one of the things we also wanted to do was get it off the landing, because unfortunately we do have some neighbors that we're not 100% sure, but are kind of confident that they would not be very nice to this creature, unfortunately. So girlfriend very nicely goes and looks up a person who does animal rehab, mammals specifically. Calls this person and she says, unfortunately, she does not deal with bats, but she knows somebody who does. Somebody who rehabs bats exclusively, which was great. Absolutely great. So she, my girlfriend, calls this very nice lady and says to her, hey, we have a bat that we think might be injured. And she says this because the bat appeared to have like some plastic sheeting or something, maybe mixed with cobwebs, attached to one of its feet. We didn't want to come in direct contact with the bat, because that is one thing you should never do. Do not ever come in direct contact with a wild animal if you can avoid it, okay? That is something I have to say right away. Do not ever come in direct contact with a wild animal. You never know what could possibly happen. If you do, it might spook them. It can stress them out really bad. They can lash out. Or they can be carrying diseases that you would not know about, okay? So just don't touch wild animals with your bare hands if you can avoid it, ever. When I say if you can avoid it, I mean, like, unless you were being attacked by a bear and your only recourse is to punch it in the nose. Even then, you probably shouldn't, because if you're trying to fight back against the bear's probably just going to get mad and kill you. Like, even more than it was already killing you. And in general, just don't mess with wild animals. They're better off not dealing with you, and you're better off not dealing with them. Anyway. So she calls up this lady, and she says, if you have a box, and you verify that this bat is alive, give me a call back. I will take the bat. So we're like, hell yeah. We are totally going to verify that this bat is alive, get it in a box, and bring it to you, or meet at a halfway point. We discussed the meeting potentially because she lives about an hour and 45 to 2 hours away, or an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours away from us. So we go outside. Rather, girlfriend then proceeds to take the top piece of a plastic piece of Tupperware and take a screwdriver and poke holes in it, because we want to have a secure place where the bat cannot get out, because that's one of the things, is that bats can squeeze through some pretty tight places. So like the little holes that are sometimes at the top of a shoebox, not good if you're trying to keep a bat. So she gets this piece of Tupperware and she pokes a bunch of holes in it, and I've got the Tupperware and I'm like, these holes have made jagged edges that are pointy and bad. We should avoid this. So I flatten out the pointy bits. We go to attempt to get this bat into the Tupperware. Now, before this point, the bat was all scrunched up and barely moving. We get close to the bat, and I barely touch it with the Tupperware. And the bat immediately spreads his wings out, opens his mouth, and folds back his top lip, and is chittering at us and, like, trying to be as threatening as possible. Not an uncommon thing. bats, most animals try to make a threatening display when they feel like they're threatened because they're trying to scare you away. And just so y'all know, bats generally do not attack or even care about people. They don't want to be near you. They don't want to have anything to do with you. They just want to be left alone, much like most people. Okay? So, and of course, girlfriend and I are like, oh my god, this is the most adorable thing ever because we're dorks. Even though this, it was like a little flying wolf. Its teeth were huge by comparison. And this is a north, I forget if it's northeastern brown bat. No, I believe it was northeastern big brown bat, because there's also the small brown bat, which I found out later from the nice lady that came and took the bat. She texted us, which was so nice of her, to let us know how the bat was doing and what was wrong with it, which I will get into in a little bit. So this bat is spread out, and we're like, oh god, how the hell are we going to get him in the Tupperware? So I call this woman back, and I'm like, hey, he's not really cooperating. We don't know a good way to do this. And she's like, well, and she did tell us something that we already knew, which was fine. I'm not about to be like, oh, I already knew that. Because, this woman is in the same boat as us. We're trying to do something nice for this bat, and we want him, or at the time we didn't know if it was a him or her, to be safe and to be taken care of. So I call her back, and she basically tells me, you got to get him in a box. Best thing to do is treat him like a really huge spider. Like when you have a spider in your house, if you're not going to kill it, which you shouldn't, by the way, you should not kill spiders, even though I hate spiders. You should. Oh yeah, that eye bug. He just didn't see what was coming, man. You should get a little piece of cardboard and a cup. And you slide the cardboard under the spider, or wait till the spider walks onto the cardboard, and then take the cup and put it on top of the spider. And then you walk outside, and then you take the cardboard off the cup, and you shake the cup out until the spider comes out. Not so much with the shaking out part, but the same concept applies for the bat. So I find our bug board, and we're going to attempt to get the bat. We get the bug board under the bat a little bit, and then realize that the bat has peed itself previously, because now the bug board is covered in pee. Not a big deal. We can always get more cardboard. So we're trying to get the bat in there. And, I told this woman, I'm going to try to call you back once we actually have the bat in the container. And as I'm saying that, girlfriend, I hear from outside, say, I've got the bat. Oh, and if you're looking, what I've just done is I've unlocked the spinning spiders and one of the new arenas. And she says, I've got the bat. She comes in with the Tupperware. Bat is inside. This is a shortened version. I actually went outside to see what happened, and the bat was inside the Tupperware upside down. Which then I called the woman back, and I was like, is it a problem if he's upside down? And she said, yeah, because it's going to stress him out. And so that is actually the part of the story where a girlfriend came in and said, oh, he just flipped himself over, which was so nice. So, one of the things that if you ever have to deal with a bat, things to be careful about. One, for your own safety, don't put your fingers in front of their face. In fact, if you can, like I said, if you can avoid actually handling the bat with your hands or any part of your body, do so, as in do avoid doing that. Safety stuff for the bat. Do not touch its wings. They are very fragile. Its bones are very fragile. So try to be as delicate with this thing as you can, okay? They are very susceptible to physical damage, especially their wings. So in any case, I call the woman back, and she's like, oh, that's great. So I'll see you in an hour and 10 or an hour and 20 minutes. We agreed to meet at a somewhat halfway point. So we drive to this halfway point, which is near a mall nearby us. And we got there way earlier than we needed to. I mean, we had lots and lots of time left. And so we're just sitting there talking. We got this bat in the Tupperware, and girlfriend had actually taken one of the shoe boxes and put a towel in there and put the Tupperware in that box so that during travel it wouldn't shake around a lot, because we didn't want to stress the little critter out. So this woman eventually shows up, and we're sweating like crazy because it's pretty hot. It's like 88 degrees outside, 88 Fahrenheit. I forget what that is Celsius, and I've actually kind of forgotten how to do the conversion. Yeah, I've forgotten how to do the conversion, so I'm not going to bother. And because we didn't want to leave the AC on, the air conditioning on, just to drain battery out of the car. You know what I'm saying? So, woman shows up in this kind of beat up looking pickup truck, and girlfriend and I discussed it ahead of time, and we are like, this woman does a service that's very difficult and takes a lot of time and is very expensive. So maybe we should see if she'll accept a donation. And to keep a long story short, she did say that she would accept a donation. So I basically gave her the bonus that my job gave me. Because I was like, what the hell am I going to use it on? I'm just living right now. I don't have anything that I really want to buy. So, like, I'd rather just help this woman. I'm not going to talk about the actual monetary amount because that's, I don't know, that could either be seen as like you didn't give enough or you're trying to humble brag or whatever. But so that's why I just don't want to get into that. But anyway, she takes the bat, puts it in her own little like special bat box, and talks to us about how she feeds them. Because we had questions. We were like, can you tell us about stuff? Because that was some of the things that we were talking about in the car. Like, how do you feed them? Do you just like have a big enclosure where you just kind of like throw a bunch of flies out there? If you're wondering what the hell I'm doing here, I'm trying to wait for one of these freaking moose rabbits to come over so I can ride the antlers to our potential destination. So. She tells us that, like, basically she has to hand feed them at first. And she's feeding them something that they don't identify as prey, which is mealworms. Because normally they... Oh, yes. Yes. This guy right here. So, Dante, I have to apologize. I killed one of your people. As the song goes, I've been stabbing on this vulture all my life. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Yeah. This vulture got what was coming to him, I'll tell you that. You can't hear it, but like every time I go out there, I'm just chucking spears unendingly. I think this might be, no, not this time. I think it's next time is where I kill him. Oh, balls. All right, hang on, folks. All right, sorry about that. I was just helping girlfriend bring a bunch of stuff into the house. And then I ate dinner, so it's like about an hour later. Let us continue stabbing the holy heck out of this stinky vulture. Even though you can't really hear it, I am stabbing him a lot. In fact, I think he's just about dead. And yeah, this is where I just got tired of it. And I was like, I'm just going to walk out here and just continue stabbing you horribly over and over until you stop moving. And I think... Yep, there's when I get his mask. King Vulture mask. Yaha. That's some good stuff is what that is. So, the short part, the short version of this whole thing with the bat is that we saved the bat. The bat's in good hands. And that's it. So now I want to kind of get into a little bit more of the serious business stuff. I'm going to talk about a medical condition that I have that is extremely frustrating and has caused me at least one injury. Not a good one either. Not a small injury. That is a condition called eosinophilic esophagitis, or EOE. And those of you who've been around for a while may remember that some time ago, I had to stop doing episodes for a little while because my doctor had said, you should not be looking at electronics right now, or like monitors and stuff like that, because I had a concussion. And the reason I had a concussion was because of this condition. Now, I do want to say, even though I'm going to be talking about this condition, it is not life-threatening, okay? So don't, like, I'm not trying to say, oh, woe is me. Like, my goal here is to bring awareness to it, because I, for the longest time, thought that this was a very rare thing that not a lot of people had. And as it turns out, actually about like 10% of the population, at least in the United States, has this problem. So as I understand it, there are a couple things that can cause this. One is in the name. So eosinophils, part of the eosinophilic esophagitis, are white blood cells, a type of white blood cell. And the problem is that, as I understand it, they attack your throat and cause it to swell. And that's what's happening to me. Constantly. It is not painful. Okay, I want to say that. We're going to get into why this causes problems in a little bit. But I want to talk about it just a little to give you some idea of what's going on here. So that's one potential cause. Another one is at least as my doctor had pointed out, another potential cause is allergic. Like sometimes it's just allergic responses to things you eat. And I did go get allergy testing, and it didn't really bring back anything that said, hey, it's allergy stuff. So one of the other really annoying parts about this condition, disease, whatever you want to call it, is there is no cure. There is no cure. There are treatments, and the treatment is not fun. Well, sorry. The one treatment that's worked for me so far is not fun. So the treatments that I have undergone are drinking this. Oh yeah, this was cool. Seeing these dudes bow down. I don't know if that's because I have the mask or not. I think it's because I have the mask. But anyway, after this guy jitters a whole bunch and then finally gets on the way, this stuff that I had to drink twice a day, that was basically like a topical steroid. Not like make your muscles big steroid, like use it to treat like a rash, okay? And the problem with that is that it caused me to have a fungal infection in my throat, which is like, all right, well, that's just freaking great. So then the other treatment was taking inhaled steroids, but swallowing them. So like inhaled steroids for people that have asthma, that kind of thing. Well, that caused me to have nosebleeds so bad that I nearly passed out from blood loss, which is really, really bad. Like, you shouldn't be bleeding that much through your nose, or at least it felt like I was going to pass out. But that, honestly, and take any medical opinion that I'm giving you with obviously a grain of salt, because I'm not a medical professional. But I think that part of it may have been also like being hungry at the time, and then also this thing happening. But it's like you can't really eat when you are trying to keep your nose from gushing blood. So I think it was a combination of those two things. Not like I'd actually lost so much blood that I needed a transfusion or anything. I don't want anybody to think that, all right? I didn't go like pale as a ghost or anything, all right? And obviously I'm fine, otherwise I wouldn't be recording this. So how did this whole thing start? Well, one night I was talking to a friend on the phone, and I was just eating some leftover Indian food, and I started feeling like this tightness in my chest. Not exactly like where your heart is, but almost. So at first I was like, holy shit, am I having a heart attack? At like 28? That's just, what? And I mean, I wasn't saying anything because I wasn't really sure what was going on. And I started feeling kind of tired. And apparently I blacked out, hit my head on my desk, and dropped the phone. I know I dropped the phone because the little like cover for the batteries was broken off and the phone was on the ground. So I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck just happened? And I felt this really nasty feeling in my chest and my throat. And so I go into the bathroom, and I didn't exactly throw up, but it was like, this is gross, okay? I want to warn you, this condition, disease, whatever you want to call it, is gross and super irritating. I tried to go into the bathroom and get the stuff out of my throat by like either drinking enough water to push it down or just trying to get it to come out. But it was like my throat just kept making all this mucus. Like I said, friggin' gross. So it made it very difficult for anything to go anywhere. Now, what was going on, I found out later, is not that like it was something wrong with my stomach, because at the time I thought maybe it was just something going on with my stomach. It is actually that my throat, basically what happens, to my knowledge, what is happening, or what had been happening and what it continues to happen, is that as this disease progresses, your throat gets more and more closed up, or I should say your esophagus, because it has not ever affected my breathing. It's only ever affected my ability to swallow food. And it gets like, it makes your throat all like, or your esophagus all like lumpy. Okay, so stuff gets caught and then refuses to go anywhere. It just gets lodged and won't budge. There had been times where I would drink like a bunch of water, like I would take a big gulp of water, and that would flush everything down, or like, you know, force things through. But so let's get to the second instance of this happening. And I didn't say anything to girlfriend when she got home about this first time, but my friend that was talking on the phone with me did. So girlfriend asked me, and I was like, nah, you know, I think it was just like, some momentary thing. I think I'll be fine. Of course, she was very worried, and rightly so, I think. Basically, I was being stupid and stubborn. So there is a point in just a second that I am going to be not talking and letting the game do its thing, because there's something that happened that was just absolutely crazy, and I just want you to hear it. But anyway, so the second instance of this happening, girlfriend was home and she saw it happen. She saw me lose consciousness, my head hit the desk, and then I immediately woke up. And it's the same desk that I'm talking about is the one that I'm sitting in front of right now. And believe me, it's not the desk. The desk is not cursed, I promise you. So she's like, hey, maybe you should go get this checked out. And after a lot of talking, etc., I finally agree. All right, I will go. I will get this checked out, because this is the second time that it's happened, and it's super irritating. This freaking moose rabbit doing the wiggly leg. So I go to my doctor, and he's like, it sounds like you had what's called a food bolus, which is basically just a ball of food that usually sticky stuff like rice or like chicken that gets stuck in your esophagus and just sits there, and you can't really get rid of it, or you can get rid of it. You just have to, wait, or like wait for your body to kind of flush it down, or drink some water or whatever. And so he says, just chew your food more, which when he said it, I was like, are you for real, dude? That's your advice, to chew my food more? I am a 28-year-old man. I'm pretty sure I know how to chew. So I was like, all right, I'll chew things more finely, and that'll be it. Yeah, well, that didn't help. So I started getting these feelings again. I didn't pass out again. And the reason that I passed out, I should mention, I found out later, is because the pressure that was building in my esophagus, because like your esophagus tries to force things down, okay? So as it's trying to force things down, it's getting all caught in this one spot. So it's expanding your esophagus a little bit in that area. So you have this nerve that runs down most of your body called the vagus nerve. And it goes basically from your brain all the way down most of your body. What was happening was my esophagus was pressing on that nerve, which caused me to pass out. So I had started getting these like tight feelings in my esophagus again. So I was like, all right. Clearly, some badness is going on still. And then I went to the doctor, and he said, all right, I'll schedule a thing for you to go and visit an x-ray technician. So I go visit the technician. They have me swallow this thing called a barium pill, which is basically just a little tablet, like about the size of an Alka-Seltzer maybe. And it's made of a radioactive material so that they can see it when they are taking an x-ray. And I'm sitting here watching this screen with this pill that is sitting in my esophagus, not going anywhere. I'm drinking water and drinking water and drinking water as instructed by the technician. I'm just watching the pill swirl around and swirl around and swirl around. So says, all right, I'm going to send the results to the doctor, and then he's going to give you a recommendation. Doctor gets the stuff and recommends that I go to what's called a gastroenterologist, which is basically just a fancy sciencey term for a doctor of your guts and also your butts. Your guts and butts. So I go to this gastroenterologist, and he says, all right, it sounds like it could be a couple things. I have to mention that it could be cancer, but it's probably not. And thank God it was not, although that did worry the hell out of me. So he does what's called an upper endoscopy, and this is not in the office when I went to him. We had to schedule this whole thing because they have to knock you out, because what they're doing is they're taking this scope, this camera, and they are putting it down your throat. And apparently it's not very small. So they want you to be unconscious so that you're not like having a panic fight or flight kind of reaction thing. And they took a biopsy, which is, if you don't know what that means that they are taking a sample of living flesh and tissue from you. So they had like this little grabby arm that went and ripped a part of my esophagus out. It sounds a lot worse than it really was, but I tell you what, it did not feel good. Or rather, it didn't feel good afterwards, I should say. I was completely unconscious for the procedure. There's no way I would ever let anybody do that to me while I was conscious. And plus, I don't think that they would do that anyway, because they're not masochists. Masochists? Yeah, they're not masochists. Or sadists, or whatever it is. Yeah, sadists. The people that like to cause harm. Anyway. So he says, all right, we'll get back to you with the results. But we did see that there was some major inflammation and constriction. So what they did was, and this is the only treatment that's worked so far, they take a balloon, like a kind of reinforced balloon, that is at the end of this scope, and they expand it. They inflate it to expand your throat. And the way that that works is that it basically causes a big tear in your esophagus, okay? And that tear kind of heals over a bit and leaves your esophagus a little more wide, all right? It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's what worked this time, anyway. I think I ended up screwing myself right here. Yeah, I want to say I screwed myself really bad. Yeah, I just screwed myself. Anyway, so that's the treatment that's been working, sort of. The problem is I've had to have this procedure now 3 times. And so let me get to the part where I got a concussion. So I got this procedure done once, for the very first time. The doctor tells me, usually people only need this done like once every 2 or 3 years. Sometimes they need it done every year, maybe. So I'm like, all right. A couple years go by. I think it was actually like 2 years. And I'm starting to get that feeling again. I'm like, all right, well, been meaning to make this appointment, so I should probably do that soon. Long story short, I didn't. And so I was having dinner with my parents one night, and I was just eating, and suddenly I felt that feeling where something wasn't going down. So I was like, oh, crap. So I excused myself to go to the bathroom so I can try to force some water down, because I don't want to do that at the table. That's just gross, because sometimes the water comes back up. And like I said, the whole thing is very disgusting. And I didn't want to talk about it at the time because nobody really likes talking about their illnesses. But this is something I wanted to bring awareness to. And what I mean by that is that if you start feeling like this at any point, please, for the love of God, go see your doctor. Okay? Do not get into the same problem that I did, because the story that I'm about to finish telling you will hopefully convince you to not wait. Okay? I was trying to force water down. And so I'm trying to drink the water. Suddenly I start feeling tired. Or basically my eyes start to drift. And I lost consciousness. I wake up on the ground with my head hurting like hell, and my parents both around me freaking out because I had lost consciousness, fallen backwards, hit the doorknob of the bathroom door with my head and locked the door, because my parents have those little push locks, like you just kind of push the middle of the doorknob in and it locks the door. And so my dad had to pick the lock and then force the door open. And he didn't know this was going to happen, and he was just freaking out. And the door hit my head again. Obviously not as hard as my head hit the doorknob. And so I then spent the next 3 hours attempting to do something about this, which caused a ton of stress on my body, as you can imagine. So I did not go to work the next day. I mean, the things finally flushed out, and girlfriend came to pick me up. That was part of the thing, is I didn't want to upset her. But I mean, what are you gonna do, man? There's no way I can drive. It's not worth it. So anyway, 2 days go by. I'm still feeling like garbage. And so I call my doctor, and he's like, you need to go see, you need to go to an emergency room right away, because you may have a concussion. Go there now. Once you do that, I will be more than happy to see you and talk about this. So I go to an emergency room, and the reason he sent me to an emergency room or a hospital is that they don't have imaging equipment at my doctor's office, so he had to send me to some place that does. So I go there. They say, the doctor does some tests. He moves his finger around and kind of basically trying to test my coordination, etc. At least that's how I remember it anyway. And girlfriend drove me there. This was on some evening, shortly after this whole incident occurred. So he says, I don't think you have a major concussion. I think you have a mild concussion. You should get an MRI. Here is the part, I believe. So I'm going to shut up for a moment. Once this bird lands... Well, once the bird lands, I'll shut up. Oh, here he comes. What? I don't remember exactly how this happened, but here he comes. He's cautious, I think, because I have the mask. Yeah, I think he's cautious because of the mask. Oh, no, that's right. There's a little bit of more back and forth. So I will continue the story. So I then go get an MRI. They say, yeah, you got a mild concussion. Just you got to stay away from electronics, etc. Which, by the way, getting an MRI in your head is it's weird. You got to have basically your head fastened to a table, which is really, really spooky when this huge, incredibly loud machine is going on around you. So, long story short, well, I've already told most of the story anyway, but the continuation of this is that now I have this condition and I'm trying to do other things like food elimination, even though I'm only allergic to carrots and only mildly so, just to see if maybe, for the love of God, I can get this to stop happening so I don't have to go see the doctor and basically pay $1,500 every year or year and a half to attempt to not have this garbage happen again. This yet another reason why I'm telling you folks about this, because I want you all to not have to deal with this craziness if you can. So, oh, here it comes. I think here it comes. Yeah, here it comes. What was that, right? That crazy screech? Oh my god, I have never heard that. I'm sure that some of you guys who are super into Rain World knew about that already, but I did not. And that to me was just bonkers hearing that. So, like I said, I'm really trying to bring some form of awareness to this. Please, 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 if you start getting feelings anything like what I've described, see your doctor as soon as possible and describe the symptoms. You may go through the same process that I did. They may, not say that it's EOE right off the bat. They may, guess that it's something else, and that's fine. That's what doctors are supposed to do. Okay, they don't immediately go, it's cancer, because yeah. And I also don't want people to think that I'm trying to say that this is some horrible deadly disease or whatever, because it's not. I mean, it did cause me harm, but it's not something that would normally cause harm, etc. But yeah, please, for the love of God, see your doctors if you feel like this or whatever, because, like I said, apparently 10% of the population gets this horrible, disgusting nastiness. But anyway, that's going to be it for the episode. I hope you all did enjoy it. And if you did, you know what to do, which is, subscribe, ring the bell, all that stuff. And I will catch y'all later. Have a good night, folks. Bye-bye.